Hello, and welcome to the next tour with
Ian?
Andia. We're so happy to have you here. This is sort of the start of season two. I know we introduced season two in our last episode, but this is the official start, I'm going to call it, to season two. And we're here with episode 28. And this is called Transition with an RV with Ben and Angela. And I'm going to let you introduce our guests.
Yeah, awesome. So we're again so excited to be here with very dear friends, Ben and Angela, both retired Air Force officers. Ben spent 22 years in the Air Force. Angela spent 21 years in the Air Force. They both retired as lieutenant colonels. I had the wonderful distinction of being able to be stationed with both of them at the same time. And moreover, I was able to pass the guide on off from one of my squadron commands to Ben, where he continued to take that unit to incredible heights at Kunsan Air Base, Korea. What an epic time. So they retired effective June 1st of 2021. And again, as Andia mentioned, transition with an RV. They had a pretty epic RV trip afterward, and kind of a bucket list thing. So let me first give you guys the opportunity to say hi. So Ben, Angela, welcome. So glad to have you on the show.
Yeah,
Hello.
thank you for having us.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So, I mentioned, that you guys like had this big bucket list, and I love the maps behind you, kind of setting the tone for the episode, and the shirt there. Pretty brilliant, Ben. I love it. But, if you could just tell us a little bit about how did you guys get into RVing? How did it become kind of a bucket list thing for you guys?
You want to kick it off?
Sure. We were getting close to retirement and trying to think about how we could step into that next chapter in our life. And we just thought, wouldn't it be cool to have an RV and travel around the country and see national parks, state parks, friends, other military bases that maybe we didn't get stationed at to say yay or nay. And and RVing was starting to become a little more trendy and in vogue and right around the same time that we were retiring, and COVID was happening at the same time. So the RV culture was definitely increasing and becoming more of an acceptable way of living on the road. So that's when we kind of just looked at each other and said, before we set roots down somewhere, why don't we travel this great country and see what it has to offer. We've traveled so much of the world, and there were a lot of places in this country we hadn't been to yet. So that was kind of the impetus that kicked off our desire to do this when we did it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I see, of note, you mentioned traveling the world map behind you. You are both, pretty epic world travelers. So that's really neat that you really want to kind of bring it home, if you will, and see, what this beautiful country has to offer.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It's one of the things like we really wanted to have you guys on the show because this is actually something we've talked about doing
Yeah.
at some point. So I think, it's hopefully there's a lot of other folks out there that have considered this. I think that's an amazing way to really see the country and get a chance to you know, eh, just stop and slow down and enjoy. And I gotta be honest, I'm a little jealous.
Well, a lot.
A
Yeah,
lot
we'll
jealous,
be
yeah.
honest.
But that's awesome. So let's dig in, I guess, a little bit more here. Um, so where did this I mean, you did sort of mention this already, but like where did the inspiration come from to have the RV lifestyle? Because you could visit the country in a lot of different ways, but what sort of inspired you to do it with an RV?
Yeah, I think some of it was just post-military retirement to slow down and kind of unplug,
Mhm.
live more simply. Really very fortunate we could do this. One of the things you can do is put all your household goods up to a full year in storage. And so that was one of the things that allowed us, one of the many things that allowed us to do this is store all our household goods, do the research on the truck and travel trailer that we want to get into for this year on the road. And then, yeah, just kind of live a simple life and get out and see this massive, huge, vast nation that we are very fortunate to live in, and see the sights and visit the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we
Sorry, go
brought
ahead.
certain skill sets. Like Ben grew up on a horse ranch, so he was very familiar with pulling trailers and trucks and that sort of thing, mechanics. And I love to plan trips and that sort of thing and keep in touch with friends. So it was very much in my wheelhouse to be able to say, hey, let's go here at this month. Let's do this thing on this month. And then you kind of just backwards plan from there as far as like, how are we going to travel the entire country, what's the route going to look like? You just kind of pick one or two things that you want to do, and then you just backwards plan from there and fill in the holes.
That's awesome. And you really hit on a couple of things right there too. You guys are obviously a match made in heaven for more than one reason. And being able to plan this epic RV trip across this country, let's pull the thread on that a little bit. So you talk about planning things. You talked about, the truck versus the travel trailer. There's class A and class B and class C and fifth wheels and adventure vans and all this other kind of good
Can
stuff.
you tell we've done some research?
Yeah, I know. We love the YouTube stuff. Yeah, exactly. But, being able to, plan it right, for you guys, the right thing was a truck and a travel trailer.
Yep.
And you talked about finding the right destinations. What other things do you need to consider, from a financial perspective? You talked about being able to store your household goods, but, where do you get all your bills if they're not online? And how do you stay connected if you are purposefully trying to unplug? And I know it sounds like I'm talking a little bit of oxymoron things, but it's a lot to think about. And
But, like, how do you go to the doctor or the dentist?
yeah,
Like, these are the things, like, I think about, right?
right. The
Logistics.
planner.
Yeah, so I'll let
Yeah.
the logistics acquisitions officer tackle that one.
Yeah. So being a program manager, I mean, we spent months trying to source what kind of truck and trailer or what our setup was going to look like. And of course, I was constantly going through, let's look at, let's go through the risk. Let's look at the pros and cons. Let's, what are our requirements? What kind of things do we want that we think are going to bring us joy? We did a lot of research. There's a lot of great YouTubers and content creators online that are full-time RVers. So we just really started watching and dedicating a lot of time to seeing, well, what works for them. And that's when we decided a truck and a trailer would be the most advantageous thing for us, because we like to be able to unhook and then take the truck and
Mm.
drive into a national park, or,
Mhm.
or drive into the city to go get groceries or anything like that. So that's what kind of led us down that way. And I don't know, what else do you want to add
We
to
want to
that?
address how we got mail
Oh,
for doctor's
doctors and
visits.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so before you retire, you want to make sure you've got that VA claim started, and
Mhm.
that you've also got your TRICARE insurance switched over to your retired status. And both the VA and the TRICARE, they do afford you urgent care visits. And the VA also has a traveling vet option that you can,
Mm.
call and say, hey, I'm from here, but I'm actually in this state and I need meds or I need something. And they were able to help us and resupply us every couple months. And then what else do we want to? Oh, and
Mail.
mail. So we basically had our mail forwarded to a friend or a family member's house, and then they were able to just kind of dig through and say, "Hey, this looks important," or "This looks like junk." But there are, for people that don't have that option to have a family collect all your mail for you, there are companies that will do that for you. They'll actually, you pay for a monthly subscription service, and they will open your mail, scan the mail, send stuff to you, whatever, that sort of thing. And then Amazon obviously is very fast and efficient. And so there's a lot of RV parks out there that they'll allow you to get packages. And just as you walk into the check-in office, you'll see packages there for different people that are homesteading in those different locations. So it wasn't difficult. It's definitely much easier than it was years ago to be able to
Right.
Yeah.
on the road. Ben can talk to you a little bit about how we had internet and all the other creature comforts that
Mm.
you need for
Yeah.
full-time living.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of ways to stay connected. We still got to get email and watch news and stuff like that. And so that's not difficult these days on the road. The Wi-Fi is great. Um, Starlink or anything like that didn't exist back then. Now there's a Starlink dish on almost every RV if you go into a serious RV park, because it works really, really well.
Right.
We went to some places where we had to have cell phone coverage to have any type of internet while we were on the road. That's not the case now. You can be in the middle of nowhere. And
Right.
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Yeah. No
Wow.
kidding. Well, and
Yeah, it's amazing how things have changed so much in just a few years. And
Yeah,
I think COVID, like, accelerated a lot of that too. I
absolutely.
mean, for sure. But yeah.
and you guys, so you guys did it like when COVID was kind of in full swing. It sounds like from the timing piece. So
Yeah.
you guys kind of, I guess, became the benefactors of some of these different forced changes.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah. Nice. So how did things like fuel and water and those kinds of things affect some of your planning? Because I get, you've got a limited supply.
Mhm.
Did you guys boondock at all? And if you did, can you maybe tell a little bit, about what boondocking is and what it isn't?
For people that haven't done it,
Yeah,
watched a lot of YouTube videos
like
of
us
this.
noobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Angela did most of the route planning, but I just, Ben stepped in when we had to talk about diesel fuel because we have a diesel truck. So,
Okay.
and believe it or not, diesel fuel is not everywhere. You can get in some
Yeah.
pretty remote areas and it can become difficult to find. And so, we top the truck off sometimes. I always had 10 gallons of extra diesel on the back of the truck for emergency situations. Never had to use it, but it was there. Water is kind of the same thing. We boondocked or dry camped quite a bit. Our travel trailer, I think, had a 35 gallon freshwater tank that we had to maintain, keep it sanitized on a regular basis so we could use it. So that it was safe. We carried extra water with us everywhere. And then we had a gas powered generator to produce electricity on top of
Mm,
solar, a little bit of solar and battery that we could run just low voltage stuff at night, lights, things like that.
nice. Yeah, lots to plan for, lots to think about, to make sure one that I know, Angela, you said it early on, your level of comfort and the things that you wanted to make sure that you had with you, but of course making sure that you could get it to where you needed to go, load planning and all that other good stuff. There's definitely a lot to think about, but the adventure, I'm guessing that all that planning certainly made it worthwhile. you know um,
So you guys did it for a full year,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
wow.
So did you start in June, like right after you
Uh,
retired?
we actually started in March, February. That's when our terminal leave started. And we started out of Alabama and we
Okay.
headed west because one of our bucket list items was making sure we got to see the Grand Canyon. We'd never been to the
Nice.
Grand Canyon. Crazy, right? And so, as you can imagine, during COVID, these national parks were just slammed. So it was so hard to get a reservation. So I just took whatever we could get, which was in like April, mid April, which
Oh, okay.
School in Flagstaff. Well, that's where we went to
Awesome.
college. So yeah,
Yeah.
very familiar with Northern
Yeah.
Arizona
yes,
and
it
the
was so
weather.
cold, but at least
Yeah.
we got to see it. It was very crowded, even with COVID conditions. And then we just kind of backwards planned from there. So we said, okay, we've got 45 days to get to the Grand Canyon. Where do we want to stop and go along the way? We use this one really cool and very popular now website called Harvest Host. And
Okay.
this is where wineries, farms, breweries, museums, all kinds of different businesses that have the ability for you to park on their land will allow you to camp there for free. And then the trade-off is that you will patronize their business with at least 20 or 30 bucks, I think is now the going rate. So, go park on a winery and then walk over to the tasting room,
Oh darn.
yeah,
Yeah.
have a couple glasses of
Sounds
wine,
horrible, right?
and then you walk
It-
Yeah,
back to your
that
house,
sounds
you
terrible.
don't have to worry about, having a designated driver or anything like that. So we
yeah.
stayed at, I think we did the numbers. We stayed at 174 different locations while we were on the road that year,
Wow.
and over 50 of them were at Harvest Host, and it was so much fun. Like in Massachusetts, we stayed at an apple orchard. We
Nice.
Oh,
stayed in
wow.
Jacksonville, Florida. We stayed at a museum parking lot, so you could just go in and go to the museum, and then you just walk back into the parking lot where you didn't have to worry about driving anywhere for food or
Yeah.
traffic or rush hour or anything like that. Um, we also stayed on military bases. Again, during COVID, some of the bases were being restrictive on who stayed there. We knew we wanted to go all the way out to Coronado. It's because it's beautiful in San
Oh,
Diego,
yeah.
but they were only letting active duty people stay on the base.
Mm,
So we were still on active duty because we were on
yeah.
criminal leave. So that was another bucket list item. We had friends that were stationed there that we wanted to see, and we had to do it while we were still on active duty. So we made sure we went out to California and stayed at Fiddler's Cove, which is the name of the RV park out there. But yeah, and around the country, we probably stayed at about 30 different military bases, which was awesome because you can still shop at the commissary. You can feel safe and secure that you're staying at an RV base on base, that it's just you and your retired friends together. So we got to meet a lot of cool people that way as well. So all those different things kind of went into the route planning and the logistics of making sure that we had a successful trip and we didn't hit any hiccups or snags.
Oh, that's pretty epic.
Is
Yeah.
there I'm gonna throw a question at you I did not prep you for, so beware. I told you this could happen. Is there anywhere you really wanted to go that you didn't get to because of logistics or because of like bumps in the road?
There's still a bucket list location, right? We just sat down a week ago and looked at our 2026 RV schedule, to see where we want to go. And we haven't been to Yosemite.
Yeah.
Okay.
We initially wanted to drive up to an RV in Alaska. That's still on the bucket list. COVID kind of put a damper on that because the
Yeah.
road was closed.
Yeah.
So there's still, and then the central United States, I think, what was it, 37 states we hit over the year. So there's still kind of central part of the United States we haven't hit. I think, COVID was the big thing for us initially because a lot of things were closed. You couldn't access them.
Oh, right.
You got to retackle some of those things.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, 174 different places that you stayed. That's an incredible number. So you're averaging what, 2 nights a place, I guess, ish.
I think it was like 2.5, nights per
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So when you did like the boondocking where you were out without, being on, in a park of any kind, how long did you do that at a time? Like 1 or 2 nights, 3
Yeah.
nights?
2 or 3 nights max. Obviously, we like to keep moving, and we would only boondock if absolutely necessary. There's a couple other times where we actually mooch docked. So if you haven't heard of mooch docking,
Okay.
it's you
Yeah.
pull into your friend's driveway
Yes.
and you just park your RV and then you go stay in their bedroom for a couple nights.
Yeah. Nice.
I have heard of that. And I
But-
thought I like that
Kind of
phrase.
reminds me of Cousin Eddie on Christmas
Yes.
vacation.
But we had a friend down in Gulf Shores, Alabama that had this gorgeous beach house and they actually installed a 50 amp and a sewer line and water lines in their driveway. And they're like, yeah, we set this up because we know we have friends that are going to RVs and we could just park and be fully hooked up in their driveway.
Yeah.
Without
Oh, that's epic.
Wow, those are really good friends to have. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can share their information in the show. No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. Okay, so if you had to break it down, what was your favorite story to tell from your adventure?
You go first.
Oh, geez. So many. There was just a funny time. I can't even remember where we were at. There was a family of ducks crossing the road. And so country boy Ben stops all traffic with said diesel truck, jumps out, herds ducks off the highway.
Stops traffic in both directions.
And all we got was honks and thumbs up and everything. It was a positive.
Oh,
it was
fun.
really
That's awesome.
because we had a camera in the truck that was recording.
Dash cam.
Yeah, dash cam.
Nice.
We thought it was worth the investment in case we ever got cut off or got into an accident, which happened a lot because there's a lot of distracted drivers out there when you're trying to tow 55 feet.
Yeah, we were 55 feet and 18,000 pounds when we're hooked up. And so, you're not a semi trailer, but you're a big target and you can't brake well and et cetera, all the safety things you think about. And so a lot of other drivers don't think about that. They cut you off, virgin to you. And so, the dash cam was a little bit of insurance in case we had an issue on the road.
Thankfully, we never had to use it for issues, but we did record me laughing in the truck, because it's recording both us and then it's also recording Ben going like this.
Oh, that's awesome.
To the curve. So, he put his life on the line for a family of ducks. Just like you said, there's
serving others
people
to this day.
on the road and wondering what's this guy doing, So
That's awesome.
And what was yours?
It's so hard to narrow down 1 or 2 things. We were reading a book called Die with Zero, and I can't remember the author's name, but maybe we can put it in the show notes. But, we were transitioning into this. We were such good savers and we had been following Choose Fi, and, that's how we were able to retire in our 40s is basically doing some simple things. Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins was another book that I'd read. So we had been super savers for the last couple years of our military life. And we read this book called Die with Zero, where this guy was basically explaining these different tenets of don't save your money for it to be used after you're dead. Go out there and, see your legacy come to fruition while you're alive. Spend your money, do things that you value, spend money on things that you value. And so we're on this great epic RV trip and we're in Nashville, Tennessee, staying at an RV park right outside the Grand Ole Opry. And I just started Googling going, I wonder who's playing at the Grand Ole Opry today. Garth Brooks.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And I thought, what better way to, spend a little bit more money than we're you normally accustomed to, especially for concerts and things like that.
Yeah.
So we said, yeah, let's die with zero and spend a bunch of money to go see Garth at the Grand Ole Opry
Yeah.
tonight.
And make it a big to do.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
splurge to me.
And that's
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
not miss. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's epic. I love both of those stories, and what I really love about this whole conversation is the fact that you guys, have that list that you're getting after every day, and you talked about your 2026 trip, and you're still getting out there and living the adventure. So it's obviously something that, with the right kind of planning, with the
Mhm.
right kind of goal setting, and the right kind of, I think, spirit, you can get out there and make it, a lifetime of adventure, and keep, getting after these sorts of things. And I think that that's really great about what you two did immediately upon retirement, and an epic one to boot, over the course of a year. But the fact that you're still getting out there and still enjoying the RV lifestyle, and getting to see things and adventure. And that's what this is all really about, and why we talked about starting this podcast to begin with is, give people ideas on what they can do, once they leave the military service.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely. Because it's not all, I mean, for some people, maybe it's going to school, maybe it's going to, find their next career. But your next tour was quite the adventure. And yeah, I see in our future following in your footsteps
Done.
someday for sure.
And if you guys ever professionally, like, logistically plan things, let us know. We might become clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was really fun. I want to give you guys the opportunity though to share anything else, any other tips or
Mhm.
tricks. Like I know we've got a bunch to share in the show notes, but I don't want to sort of wrap up this part of the episode without giving you guys a chance to, throw anything else out there that we didn't get to cover.
You know, anything you want
Um,
to address?
we still follow some of those YouTube RV content creators. One of that's a favorite of ours that we watch every Sunday night together. It's almost like family time for us. It's called Keep Your Daydream, and they are full-time RVers and they've been doing it for many years, and they're just very good at educating and showing the good and the bad, the pros and the cons of our RVing. And we've kind of watched their family grow up and move on, and now they're grandparents and that sort of thing. And they had a really special quote in their email that they sent last week with their video, and I just wanted to share it with people that are again wrestling with what do they do after they get out of retirement,
Mhm.
when they're looking for purpose, when they're looking for how to spend their money, and that's that sort of thing. So they said things depreciate over time, but experiences tend to appreciate in our memories. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to accomplish here, is that we just want to make sure that when it's time for us to go, that we don't have a ton of things that we can't take with us, but we can definitely take those memories and those experiences with us, and to be able to share with family members and friends that we've
Mhm.
met throughout our different chapters of our life is at the end of the day what really matters to us.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Well said. Let's put an exclamation on that. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you guys so much. This has been really, really incredible. And being able to, inspire folks. You've inspired me. Maybe I should quit my day job and go out and
Right.
RV. Okay. See, there it is.
Um, we'll talk after that
Yeah.
for sure.
No, not
Oh, I
really,
love
but
it.
we'll do that. Yeah.
This is awesome. Thank you guys for sharing this story with us today. So we're gonna move on to the fun parts of, well, actually, this has all
The
been
game
fun.
part.
The
Yeah.
game part of
Yeah.
the episode. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I know you both have prepared answers, which I love, but so this is the what's in your rucksack. So really thinking about your time in military service, and what is it that you want to bring with you into your now retired life, and what is it that you're very happy to leave behind?
Okay. For me, the one thing that I still carry in my rucksack is my time management that I learned
Yeah.
as a military officer and leader. When you're in retirement and you're not working, you don't have a boss, you really have to give yourself a reason to get out of bed every day and and have a higher purpose, because
Yeah.
that's something that we had while we were on service, and that's something I want to definitely have while I'm in retirement, is to have a purpose. And that's why I love volunteering. I have a very healthy volunteering schedule, here in Idaho. And I love all the people that I've met, and I love still being able to serve, but just now in a different capacity. Though, so speaking of that, the one thing that I'd like to get rid of is always saying yes. I felt like in my
Yes.
career as a program manager, I always had to say yes, but, or how can we get to yes? So it was constantly negotiating. And so I want to make sure that I don't always have to say yes nowadays. Like I have a choice, and how I spend my time, my money, my resources, and not always saying yes is something that I'd like to just leave in the military.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. That's not always easy. That's for
Right.
sure.
Hmm.
Awesome. All right, Ben, your turn.
Something I still carry with me today from the military was, a simple thing. If you take care of your equipment will take care of you. Maintenance, cleanliness, things like that. Obviously, was a big subject in security forces, out in the elements. Take care of your gear so that your gear is there ready for you, and that played perfectly into the RV life. Maintaining the truck, maintaining the trailer. And we were just discussing last night how few issues,
Hmm.
we put 23,000 miles on the truck and the trailer in a single
Wow.
year. Very, very few issues. RVs, travel trailers are known to have hiccups. They're handmade items. They're not
Mhm.
like your car you buy that's made by a robot. So, yeah, cleanliness and maintenance of your equipment, it helped us out a lot. The other side, not taking yourself too seriously. Security forces put a pretty serious gig a lot of the time, and
That it was.
I've found myself finally in my mid-40s relaxing a little bit, not taking
Mhm.
myself so seriously, and worrying about the things I can actually control and brushing off the stuff that I can't.
Yes. Speaking of a shirt,
Yes.
Yes.
just
I'm just here for the hookups. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Epic, epic. That is like the best, like on the nose shirt I have ever seen. Yeah. Well done. Well done. And you know what? Wise words from both of you. And what a great perspective that you both have carried into retired life. I mean, you're wearing it well, figuratively and literally. And again, really appreciate those insights. So my turn now is to talk the two truths and a lie military style. So our previous guest, Mr. Grant Vermeer, gave us his three factoids, and you guys get to guess which one is the lie. So, number one, being a military spouse is harder than being an active duty service member.
oh,
Number two, his wife has more deployed time than he had when he was in uniform. Or number three, his wife is his favorite person on the planet. Which one do you think is the lie?
Yeah, yes.
the second one, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, exactly. He
Of
definitely
course.
gave everybody a softball on
I
that
know.
one, but
Yeah.
That was a
It would
softball.
have been
Thanks.
really bad had it not been number two, actually.
exactly, exactly. So, thanks for Grant for teeing that one up for you all. So, Ben, Angela, over to you guys. What are your three facts that you want to put out there, and we will reveal this on the next episode of the next tour.
Okay. While on our year-long RV trip around the United States, Ben drove every single mile of the 23,000-mile trip.
Hmm.
Uh, we have invested in a marijuana farm in Oregon and are currently advocating for the legalization of marijuana in Idaho.
Okay,
Or we were one of the first married couples to go to a deployed location together in South Korea.
interesting. Well, I know one of those, but I'm going to let our next guest guess that and see which one it is. So, Ben, Angela, thank you so very much for being on this episode of the Next Tour. We really appreciate the two of you taking the opportunity to, discuss the incredible adventure that you had. Some of the things that folks might need to think about as they look into doing an epic adventure like this. And quite frankly, it's just great to see the two of you again. Being able to serve with such wonderful people on active duty has just been, a big, big, highlight of my life. And it's great to be able to continue to reconnect with wonderful people even thousands of miles away virtually and just kind of pick up where we left off. So,
And if we ever get out on our RV, which we
yes,
don't own yet, we'll definitely come to Idaho and visit.
Yeah. Sure.
Call him
absolutely.
before you buy anything. He's
Definitely,
Wonderful.
definitely will. And I feel like this is going to be one of our longest show notes, but we will put all sorts of stuff in the notes for everyone. And yeah, just to echo what Ian said, thanks so much for being here with us. It was really fun
Thank
on
you
this
for having us.
episode
Thank
of the
you
next tour.
so much.
Definitely. All right. Well, hit us up, at the website and you catch up the show notes. And again, we'll have all those links down there. Thanks, everybody.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
The views, opinions, and advice expressed by our guest on the next tour are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast, Andia, or any affiliated organizations. While we strive to provide helpful and accurate information, this podcast is for informational purposes only. We encourage listeners to consult with professionals or conduct their own research before making any significant decisions related to military transition or post-service life. The content is intended as guidance and personal perspective, not as official advice.